Hello and welcome to the final draw of the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships. I'm Kevin Palmer and joined with David Nedwin. Hey David.
Hello Kevin. Good to be here again.
We would like to begin by acknowledging that we are competing this week on the traditional lands of the Treaty 6 Nations, including the Blackfoot, Cree, Dene, Gros Ventre, Métis, Nakota Sioux, and Saulteaux. Indigenous people were joined by settlers and pioneers who together built this great community of Strathcona County. And we are at the Sherwood Park
Glen Allen Rec Center, also known as the GARC here in Sherwood Park for the local Sherwood Parkians.
And our final game today is the boys' final between Ontario and British Columbia. We've got a number of other games going on here with the girls' final, as well as we've got bronze medal competition taking place. So we'll try to keep you up to date on all those scores,
as well as a mixed doubles final as well. So the gold medal game for mixed doubles, I will have to talk a little bit more about that later, who's in it and how that came about. But yeah, we've got a full house here, all 5 sheets going, and the fans, I think, anxious to get this going. Pretty loud, a lot of horns blowing. A lot of people yelling, "Fear the Moose."
With the Northern Ontario women, who we watched their game earlier this morning in the final. So BC with last rock here in the first end. So it'll be Ontario lead, Trey Cowell, out of the Coldwater and District Curling Club. So Ontario in the finals by way of beating Manitoba in the semifinals earlier. It was close at the beginning, and then Ontario blew the doors off with a lot of stolen points over a number of ends. Manitoba in the bronze medal game right now versus Nova Scotia. Actually a rematch of their game yesterday. So first shot by Ontario is the center guard.
Lead for Team BC is Tyler Powell. So he lives in Invermere. Tyler was also competing in the U-21 playdowns this year, silver medalist in BC.
Looks like this one's going to come a little deep and be open on the other side. In fact, right to the back 12 foot.
Yeah, lots of curl, as we know. We've watched this ice now for 4 or 5 days. It's been really consistent, lots of curl. So something that the players needed to get used to if they haven't been on arena ice before, which most of these players have not. So very, very predictable. If you do throw it a little bit soft, it's going to get a ton of curl. Throw it nice and straight with weight. It's fairly weight sensitive.
Yeah, right here you can see exactly what you're saying, Dave. A little bit soft and didn't get, out to the broom. Racks on the front guard, and now there's just one red stone sitting at the back of the 12 foot. So BC electing to split the rings, I suppose.
Yeah, it's it's such a subtle difference between making a shot and having it over curl like that. In this case, just a little bit wide on the delivery on the slide, and then just kind of soft to get it back, and that's a bit of a recipe for disaster on this ice.
Now they could have elected to play a guard, clearly, or actually maybe they were intentionally trying to play guard here. No,
I think they're calling just short of the house. Yeah,
they are. Okay. Yeah, I think I like that call rather than splitting the rings. I mean, if you slip in there, it's not terrible, but I think even if Ontario hits and sticks here, they might even elect to go around. So this is second for Ontario. Cameron Van Bodegum. I got that one right.
Here we go again. Just a ton of curl here. They've got to really hold this.
And good sweep all the way down. Looks like they should be able to keep that around. Nope. No, it will roll out.
Second for BC, Benjamin Morin. Lives in Vernon, BC. favorite curler, Jim Cotter. Imagine we'll have a few of those from BC.
So just maybe not enough weight to continue through the path there, David, or
yeah, I think line was pretty good, right?
Yeah,
line was pretty good. Just another couple feet away. The one thing that we've talked about a few times is just the room by the guard. You know, you're for those watching maybe for the first time on this ice, you don't even have to be close to a guard to bury. In fact, if you are, you're just going to come out the other side. So take lots of ice, let it curl.
So hit and stick by Cameron here, but it does leave that rock in front of the rings. We'll see what BC chooses to do with it. So electing to come around. They could hit that, probably even roll into the rings if they wanted to stay conservative, but they're going to try and tuck this one around.
Well, he just threw it too, so nice to be able to throw the same shot 2 in a row. Just looks by.
And of course, even here, if you come out the other side, you got another rock to guard it, but it does come deep.
So you can see how much ice he is taking on the draws. Broom's outside the 4-foot, curling to the other 12-foot more or less, or 8-foot, I guess is where they want to stop. So
the call,
a good 6 feet of curl.
Call here is for third Sam Hastings to follow it down. They could play a tap back or on their own Yellowstone or even a split, but you've just seen your opponent do this, so the path is clearly there. Now,
Line
obviously the miss would be to if you accidentally rub your front stone, but as we get later in the end, into the back end stones, you need to be more and more precise. It's one thing to say, and they do rub a little bit at the front and sit in the open.
Just a slight weight difference.
I mean, we always start at lead, and then we move to second. We say, well, you can miss here, miss there, and then progressively we want to miss less and less. And then, of course, on that last shot, David, which you're familiar with, you don't. The half shot sometimes doesn't work out so good because they put the score on the board.
So Mitchell Kapitko, third for Team BC. Mitchell's out of Kamloops. I think everyone here is kind of from around that area in BC.
So I think they're trying to see if they can actually just get a little roll in behind. Looks like he's got a great shot.
Very nice.
Fantastic.
I mean, that half roll behind is actually perfect. It doesn't allow Ontario to really make a run back and maybe get both reds. So it's pretty much perfect.
And right now they're looking at just trying to do some cleanup. Ontario without hammer doesn't want to give up a big end. They could try the come around, but at that point you're playing with fire and looking at even a possible 3. So they are going to play big weight here, I think. Or
doesn't look like a ton of weight.
Down weight, yeah. So
want to control.
Want to keep the shooter in play.
Really got to hold this.
And they do remove the BC stone, but the promoted stone spins out of play. They wanted to keep that in the rings. Now BC's, they are electing to split the rings. This is really a play for 2.
Bit of a new spot here too. Yeah. They haven't thrown a draw right in this path. Typically the practice, we were watching, they're usually a little bit more on the 8-foot and 12-foot. This is tighter at the edge of the 4-foot coming across, so a bit of a new spot. Might be hair heavier here.
Well, they're on it right now, and then see if they can get it into the rings.
Good sweep.
Okay. No problem, T-line, so.
Double.
Wonder if...
no, a little flat.
A little flat, but at the very least, maybe they can get a roll somewhere to that side. Maybe move it more towards the middle. So skip for Ontario, Dylan Nepage. He admires actually many curlers. Wayne Madaw, Glenn Howard, Brad Jacobs. Interesting that they all are from Ontario.
Definitely some regional bias that we've seen in these.
Yeah. So they're working this hard, and I think they're going to get too much roll.
That's the third time in that same spot that we've seen Ontario miss with the intern on the tight side. So our first look at the skip for Team BC, Eric Caldwell, resides in Vernon, BC. So interesting that this is a different team than was at the Canada Winter Games a few weeks back in Red Deer. And in fact, this team played against the team that went to the Canada Winter Games in the finals of the U-18 Provincial Championships to get here. So a lot of great players out of BC right now. We're seeing two different teams. The Team BC, Team Sato actually won the Canada Winter Games for the boys, and now we have a second team in Caldwell playing in the finals of the national championships for the U-18. So,
and of course Tyler Tardy and
Tyler Tardy winning as many as he has now at the world level. Just a ton of good curlers coming out of BC in this junior men ranks.
Yeah, and it's almost cyclical at times, and who knows why it seems to happen. BC hasn't had necessarily a lot of success. We noted, Cotter mentioned here, but, outside of him, we haven't seen a lot of great teams come out of BC lately. But that can change quickly. It's usually what happens. It's the development of these young teams.
And this team actually played, you mentioned Tyler Tardy, they played Tyler Tardy in the finals of the junior provincials to carry on. So they've had quite a good year, 3 finals.
So looks like they've got the intern here again, David, and did just still stick around, but it rolled too far. We'll leave a draw for 2 for BC.
Just a hair less roll and he would have been buried.
Always good when you've just thrown down this path on the last shot and made it. So chance to take a early deuce. A lot of woes out there right now.
That's a 14 on the nose. That's back 8 foot.
And
but I hope it stops.
And does just hang on. Full 12 foot, which is good enough for 2. BC will take a 2-0 lead. Ontario with hammer in the second end.
That goes to show you how important that sweep was on the last rock by Ontario there for the third to be on that and really working every inch of it out of it.
Bit of noise from the Manitoba fans as well, I think, with the result on that sheet. So we will try to keep you up to date as we go here.
Nice draw right to the top of the 4 foot, biting button.
So a situation where Ontario could choose to hit that stone and play what now in 5 Rock is a delayed corner. But they're going to put the corner guard up now.
And you can see where the broom is for Page. I mean, it's outside the 4 foot, so a lot of people might be thinking, well, looks like he's throwing a center guard.
It does.
But this is a corner guard. There's no question.
And it looked like they're going for halfway, so likely that if they get really aggressive and put up 2 corners, they would be split to either side. Or I guess they'll wait and see what BC does on the next shot. The advantage, of course, of the delayed corner is they could move that red rock off the button, maybe get a roll away from the center, and then play the corner guard. But now BC is going to put up a tight center, and we should be mixing it up here right away.
Yeah, a little bit high on that corner guard for BC or for Ontario. Even if they get around that with the amount of curl there is, there's going to be a good chance that BC can still remove it. So they would have liked that another 4 or 5 feet tighter, kind of the same line.
Yeah, you can see how much it came over as well. I mean, that's...
we'll get a good view of it in just a moment here.
Yeah. From where the broom was, that's almost 10 feet, it seems like. This coming in a little tighter than they had originally called for. So Trey's been curling for 8 years and got started after watching the 2010 Olympic Games. And they like to play a hit and get a nice roll in behind that long corner. But as you say, David, even if it's fully buried, they would be able to get to it and remove it.
It was a great shot, no question. But I mean, that guard's really not in play. If they're touching that guard, they'll be lucky to get a piece of it anyways. It's going to overcurl. Benjamin Morin.
You can see there, Dave, that's it's pretty good solid weight actually on that shot.
Basically nose hit.
Wanting to roll away.
Good throw.
So you can see how just by slipping that center guard into the rings, we have a very different end developing. And actually, if you're BC and you're 2 up, you're probably not too disappointed. You'd want to make Ontario have to make some shots, make them try to earn their points. But another good hit and roll.
Yeah, they make those look easy.
Fantastic shot. And I know we say that it's fairly accessible, David, but it is the final game. Nerves might be running a little bit, and all you need is one half shot, and you've got an opportunity to score 2.
Yeah, the nice thing is for Benjamin, he just threw this, so you'd have to bet on him being close again.
Very good clear release there.
The hollering out of your hands probably not great on this ice, though.
Good sweep. Squeak it by. And again, just rolling out to the open. I have a feeling that Ontario's just going to try and roll it back. At some point, they're going to run out of rings here, so we'll have to see what happens then. So a lot of great shots made already. Everybody seems really sharp. Nerves not appearing to be a factor, at least as of yet. And as you say, some of these teams now, they have played in some big events and been in final games against big teams. So it's all about gaining that experience. Another great shot.
There you go. Well, what's nice about that is it forces BC to play the other turn at it now.
Yeah.
I mean, they can still get it, but you can see, half a rock maybe on the intern side now?
I think it's almost better now, as you say. It's a different spot, different turn.
Yeah.
And, we've been watching this sheet for I don't know how many draws. Doesn't mean these players have been on this sheet, so they may still be learning a little bit about the ice. They do just clip it. But as we said, it's a new spot, and Ontario gets what they were looking for, which is a miss by BC. Now in this situation, you don't necessarily even really need to bury it completely. You just don't want to leave a double, but you certainly don't want to come deep.
I think more important than trying to bury it is making sure it's either top house or deep, so there's no double.
Well, and certainly you'd like to be shot, I think, because if you or in a position where, well, no, I guess it's difficult to be shot, but you want to be in a position where later in the end you just don't want to leave something that BC might be able to get out of the end with, I suppose, right? But I think at this point, BC is going to hit the open rock. BC's hitting the open
one, so it's going to be an exchange of rocks and
but you can see here
theoretically a deuce for Ontario.
Yeah, so coming a bit deep. So you're not going to want to try to roll into that, but if you can roll towards the center,
maybe set a double
couple
up
of shots.
Last shot.
Yeah, you've still got 6 rocks to come.
Well, this is the spot that everyone's been caught on in terms of over-curling so far.
Looked like a very steady slide. And honestly, the release itself even didn't look that bad, but as you say, Dave, it just comes up quite a bit.
Yep. Both going away from us in the first end and coming back now. That's the same spot that we've seen 5 rocks in a row over curl and roll out on the inside. So just needing to adjust either a hair more weight with that broom or maybe just a little bit more ice for that. Now maybe a chance for Ontario to bury one. I mean, there's 2 options. You split the house again and make them hit the open one. Or if you really want to be aggressive, going around the guard, top 12, possibly setting up 3.
Yeah, I like this because if you draw to the open side, it's there's a lot of spots you would leave it where you might leave a double or a hit and roll over. And I always like to score 3. It is more than 2. And it has you can get a lot of impact on the game when you can score 3. Yeah, the danger is here.
Just can't be heavy. That's the only thing you can't do.
Yeah. So you may leave either a double or even a freeze that'll get BC out of the situation. At least for now, there's still skips rocks to come. So even if you get them into a freeze situation here, there's a chance that now you can come down and use the corner. It looks like they want to look to play a hit. What do you think here, David? What do you?
Well, the hit's pretty accessible. They can play sort of that board weight and just flop on top of it. But if they ever roll out that little bit, it just gives a chance for Ontario to do the same draw again. So, I mean, if you could draw with the out turn, just follow them down to it. I think that's a great shot too. This one probably you feel like you're limiting a yellow rock, but there's probably a little bit more risk because it's a little bit more difficult shot.
And a bit of scoreboard, you're 2 up.
Yeah.
If you get rid of one of these, you lessen the chance of giving up 3. But I still think, as you say, it's really important to get the inside roll.
You just have to be shot after this.
Bit of weight on that, actually. I know you were thinking maybe it was going to be a little bit softer, but actually, I wonder if they were just playing the double, or are they playing? Yeah, that. Oh, so yeah, that's it. I think we both thought they were going to try to go to the inside, which I think was the better call, David. And it seemed like they were playing that for the double all along.
Yeah, even if they make the double and roll away, Ontario's still drawing around that guard and playing for their 2. So I think, I don't know if that was plan B partway down when they decided, okay, we're not getting the inside roll, let's play for the double.
But yeah, the danger, of course, now is 3 is still in play. If they can make a good shot here.
But the conversation probably should have been, or might have been, let's make sure we're shot rock when we're done this. That's what was most important.
Yeah.
A turn draw. So the drawaway's been pretty consistent through the week. We're looking at about 15 seconds to T-line, 14-6 to 15.
So when Dylan first started to curl, he actually asked Glenn Howard to come to Bring a Friend to Curling Day in Coldwater, and Glenn actually showed up.
Oh, good on Glenn.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he had a weekend off his schedule.
So a little deeper than they would have liked,
Yes.
but does sit 2 right now.
I'm guessing for the past 40 years, Glenn's probably curled 9 out of 10 weekends.
Now, so the tendency here, Dave, might be as it was on their previous shot to get rid of one of the yellows, eliminate any chance of 3. But I think if they do that, they leave a fairly routine shot for 2. So
yeah, I think they have to. Well, they can play. They're thinking they can play with board here, but I'll tell you, that is not an easy shot. I mean, I think the much easier shot right now is just to play that freeze. Just draw in, and even if you, worst case scenario, you cut them down to a draw for 2. But they can get it with board. It's definitely there. I mean, we saw it earlier in the end. But even if he hits it thin, there is a chance it jams on the outside red one, and we still give a draw for 3. So I think they're playing a difficult shot. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and I think if you make the freeze, and you draw down, there's even some chance you could steal.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas
sure.
I think it's most likely you're going to roll a bit into the open here, but you are hoping if you can hit it as thick as possible.
Looks pretty good.
And you know if they.
Great shot.
Yeah, good shot. They do roll into the open, but it is. As you say, you're almost surrendering 2. Again, playing scoreboard, I think. Yeah.
They were saying, let's get rid of 1, keep them to 2. The freeze, like you said, you might have even stolen 1 or forced them to a single. But that's fine. They wanted to keep them to 2, and it's a good shot.
And they still got to make it. And we've seen a few hit and sticks that didn't stick around, just as we said, because a lot of the curl. And this is interesting too. He's going on the other side of the center line, Dave. Sometimes you might see an intern here, but see what this does.
Should get lots of curl out of it.
Actually, a really good throw. And looks like it is a hit for 2.
Very nice.
2 points on the board for Ontario, and it's all tied up, heading to 3. BC will have the hammer.
The one thing that we see at this level is between ends, just a chance for coach to interact with the team, just say, good end, remind them of the score. They only have a few seconds to do it, but it's such a great, improvement of the game, allowing them to do that. When, through a 2-hour game, really a coach has 2 minutes to interact with their team otherwise. So just that few seconds to kind of either calm nerves or, remind them of what the game plays for this end is, I think it's really helpful in the development of the sport, especially at this age.
I know you did want to mention a bit of the structure on the mixed doubles that they're doing here this week as well. So as I understand it, it's actually an event that brings the existing players from all of the teams into a pool. So if they didn't make the championship round, how did it work out? What's the format?
Yeah, I think it's really great. So obviously not every team makes the playoffs. Those teams that don't make the playoffs get put into a mixed doubles event where they actually partner up with somebody from another province. So right now we're watching Nova Scotia and PEI play together. It's just really great. The kids love it. Keeps them out on the ice, building friendships, building great memories, and learning a lot about the game. So they're out there being coached, for example, by Team Alberta coach right now, and the Newfoundland coach are helping them. I think it's an absolutely fantastic way to keep the kids who didn't make the playoffs still involved in the event and working towards something and learning and having a great time. And
learning a different game and something that, again, as it's an Olympic medal sport, we want to develop the interest in it and how to play it.
Well, I mean, it's, obviously this is a national championship and everyone is here to win. The reality is there is only going to be one winner on each side for men and women. But if you can help these players develop as athletes and curlers and people, and I mean that's really what the benefit is of everybody that's at this event, and I think it's it's a great part of it.
So we just saw that Trey Cowell just confirming with his skip that maybe a little too firm on the that out turn, and so a miss. We haven't seen too many of those yet this game, so now BC will have a chance to what are they? Are they trying a split here at all, Dave, or they're just going to?
I think they're just trying to tap it back a little bit, try and split and roll to the inside maybe a bit.
Not a
pretty good.
Yeah, what a good shot. I mean, at least to keep the their shooter as well up in front of the rings and promotable. The Ontario going to have to roll away with this, so BC with hammer will have some.
Well, and obviously the
risk
is
play with.
being a little bit tight potentially, and even chipping that red one underneath the guard.
So Cameron, who just threw this rock, and great shot, will roll away. That's the nice weight on that as well. He's actually also a rugby player and a football player as well. So he was actually the 2017 Eastview Junior Male Athlete of the Year. And despite all that, he actually has his grade 7 in Royal Conservatory piano.
Oh, wow.
So kind of covering a lot of different areas there.
Well, so many of these curlers are multi-athletes I see on here. There's golfers, and there's swimmers, and there's all sorts of things.
Well, interesting, he didn't mention a curler, but he did mention J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans as his, and Walter Payton, actually, which I'm thinking of somebody born in 2001. The fact that he knows Walter Payton, I think, is fantastic. So.
Well, that was nice for Team BC. That did stick around. It certainly puts some thought into Ontario's mind as to what they do. They got a draw.
I mean, they could even make a play on that red in the front. Down the road, that could hurt them. But if you get this half tucked around, make BC make a play on it.
But you're right. The control zone is so important. And right now, that red rock that's sitting just in front of the house. I'm with you. It's going to be a problem for Ontario later in the end.
Yeah, those little outside biters, particularly when you don't have hammer, just irritate you. Because you're looking at that thinking, I want to hit this rock, I want to get it out of here, but the result doesn't help me much. And just maybe a little light there. I think they actually had a good line. So short of the rings. And so that split that we just talked about, looks like they're going to go after it right now.
The challenge is for Ontario, if they had gone after that redstone and just nose it, now you're giving BC the chance to draw in first. So it's a difficult decision. I like the call. If they were just a hair more weight, it would have been fine.
So always a little bit trickier playing these coming across the face. Need to make sure you've got the right amount of weight.
I think going the other way now.
Looks like it, yeah. It looks like they're just going to hit it just right on the nose, which is still a good result. Still pressure on Ontario here without hammer. But does give them an opportunity, and as we talked about, now they could actually remove this red stone. You leave those 3 yellows in front of the rings.
It's a pretty good situation then for Ontario.
BC's going to have to do something with them. They have to be careful. On a really good shot. Doesn't remove them both, but I know you can tell he's a little disappointed.
Well, leaves BC sitting 2. Now they can draw around that out turn. It'll curl tons. But to your point, Ontario has 3 rocks in front of the house. They're definitely going to be able to use them.
Well, it's one of those situations now where how aggressive do you want to be if you're Ontario? And maybe BC will have one of those big circus shots at the end for a big score. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle this. And if you're BC, you're not going to be playing at those in the front. You know they're dangerous, but you want to draw into line 3. Now this is going to come a little bit deeper than they want. So Ontario could play the hit and roll. They could choose to follow that down.
I feel like we're a half-second faster than we were earlier today. It's running. That was 14.6, and it went behind the tee line. That would have been right on the tee line in this morning's draw.
So they are playing a hit and roll here?
Yeah, I think they're...
Soft, maybe a soft weight.
Hit and roll, but lots of ice, as you can see. That's going to be about hacked board weight. The problem is a thrower. You see so much ice, and you want to maybe be a little soft on it, but the minute you do that, it's gone.
Yeah, and you just don't see that often, right? And so visually, it's really hard to manage, but this looks really close. Oh, no, now it actually did run a bit straight on him. It seemed like a good throw. It just might have been too much ice.
I'll tell you, Kevin, I think the out-turn draw was the way to get out of this end. There's a rock behind the tee line. You don't have to be even close to that guard to bury it.
Oh.
Even if you'd only gone top 12 foot, top 8 foot, you cut away those 2 biters, and you really narrow the rings down for BC. So,
timeout now for BC.
Yeah,
called from the bench. I agree with you, David. I think it's one of those situations though where if you make either shot, it's a good shot. If you can make the roll, the situation, of course, when we've seen it, is making a hit and roll, particularly on this ice, is very, very difficult. And so if you think about a lot of times they're going to make that hit and roll and probably not roll behind cover, and then you leave an opportunity for BC to make a hit and roll, now you're in real trouble. Yeah. And I know you're right. The tendency is you're seeing all those red rocks in play. You want to remove some of them. But I'm kind of with you. I think the way the end's setting up, it might be a go all in.
My guess would have been he would have been very close in the draw. Yeah. At least into the 12 foot or 8 foot. Doesn't mean he had to be shot.
Yeah. Well, no, and it's hard to understand, but at some points in an end, when you don't have hammer.
Here's the kind of recap on the end here. So we see this one coming into the back of the house. And you're right, it's scary. There's a lot of red rocks there, but there was a, if he makes that shot, no question, it's fantastic.
But it was difficult. Yeah. And the draw can land in a few different spots and leave opportunity. It's tough because you're in a close game, but at the same time, you are in trouble. And even if they remove that red rock, they're still looking at 3, right? They went out on the wings.
So looking at the situation now, I mean, there's a few different options, right? The original call was the out-turn draw. I don't know if we can catch the audio from them. Let's see if we can hear what they're saying. There is directional mics, but we can't quite, I mean, they're looking at what Team Ontario is going to do. So what they're worried about is if they play the out-turn draw and stop top 12 foot, it gives BC, or it gives Ontario the same shot they just tried, that hit and roll in, and it does, there's no question. I'm not sure what else they really have. I think they need to draw into that top 8 foot, top 4 foot.
I think at one point they even considered hitting that front yellow and even rolling over and looking at every opportunity. It's a situation where you're happy to be sitting 3, but you are nervous about what your opponent's going to do. And they will have lots of options. Ontario will have a few different options to try to get out of this end.
I think you always ask yourself, if we don't throw right now, what is our opposition going to do? And I have to believe at this point, they're going to play that draw at some point. So you need to take that draw away. So come in first, get into the top 12 foot, top 8 foot.
You also take away the run back on the yellow, the tap, just take away both shots.
You're leaving them to hit and roll. You can't take away everything.
Yeah, and so part of it is you don't necessarily want to bury this. In fact, if you leave it even 3/4 open,
it's pretty good.
It's not a bad shot. And just tuck a little part behind. Now this might
just let this die.
A little bit more open than they wanted, and this actually might
pretty good.
Give some opportunity if they can. Oh no, it did actually tuck around there pretty nicely. So
The nice thing is, even if Ontario wanted to play off that red one now, it jams onto there and stays in the open. So it's actually a perfect spot.
Let's see if we get a follow-on timeout here from Ontario. There's quite a bit of discussion going on.
Well, they can play that shot again. It's thin, right? It's thin, but they just saw it. They have a good sense of where to put the broom. And as he said, right now you can come off the back of the one that was just thrown and maybe nuzzle into that one back 4 foot.
Yeah, that port looks not very inviting. I think you'd be running a yellow back or tapping one back instead. But he'll have that on his next shot if he has to play it.
I would say the two options are the hit that they're playing, or an out turn, kind of following that one down with maybe just backline weight, trying to move them and stay in front.
Really,
but it's
so
a tough
difficult,
shot.
and I think you're going to end up rolling into the open and giving him a shot to hit and roll back in. So this is, and they did, as you say, they just threw it. Looks like they've cut the ice down a little bit as well.
Yeah, they have.
I wonder what kind of ice they're going to play. Big shot here in this third end.
Close. I think he's got it. He's got the double. What a great shot.
Fantastic shot. Now you can see here, this is why the importance of leaving that BC Stone partially open. They do have a chance now to come back with the out turn and get to but
what a good shot.
Yeah.
Some good excitement. But yeah, as you said, it certainly leaves still a chance for BC and Eric to come down right now with just through the house weight, just enough to move it, hopefully to sit 3.
Well, and that's where thinking ahead matters, because if they hadn't, and I don't know if that was intentional, to leave it partially open, but you need to do that on that previous shot. So see what they can do with this out turn.
Not an easy shot, though. You can see about half of it.
They're on it very early. Certainly don't want to be sweeping it for weight. You want to have enough to move the stone back.
It's close. Oh boy, here! What a good shot. Did they hold it enough?
Good shot. No.
Just like
actually over curled.
Yeah.
Which it didn't even seem like it was a head scratcher. How did that even happen? But
you can see half the rock, and he over curled to nose.
Curled to the and even a bit to the inside.
Just a hair light, eh? I mean, if he had another 4 feet of weight on that, it would have been absolutely perfect.
So Ontario now sitting 1, and 3 Reds sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Well, hit and roll to sit 2 now. That's the real problem for BC.
Now, really important to get the roll, because I'm wondering, Dave, if a nose hit leaves a double there, you've got to...
Well, anywhere to the outside certainly
inside.
does. I mean, you're definitely playing the inside roll, but I mean, you could just rip it out as long as you just can't leave a shooter.
That's another option.
Double.
Yeah. Final shot for Ontario skip, Dylan Knee-Page.
Very close. Got a curl. Got a curl a bit.
And did get that inside roll.
Great shot.
Sit 2. Fantastic. Now, is there a way to slash those 2 to get 2, David? That's what they're looking at right now.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, you can only see, well, you hit what you can see. You can see about a third of the rock. So I think if you hit what you can see, you probably make the shot for 2.
Yeah, they are going to have to push that yellow stone that's on the back 4 on the center line there, though, right out, because their 4 shot right now is really just nibbling at the back. So there's some chance here that might just kiss it and not push it all the way out. We'll have to see what happens.
Which, if he was to move it enough to score 1, that's a success.
When you're facing 2, for sure. So final shot. Definitely got big weight on it.
A little bit tight. And
just catches their red stone. So it's a steal of 2 for Ontario, and they'll be leading 4-2. BC will retain hammer heading to the fourth.
Well, what a turnaround that end.
Two great hit and rolls.
Oh, Dylan made two fantastic shots.
That really, that's what Skip can do. When you make your shots and you put pressure on your opponent. And they knew the whole end. BC knew that those yellow rocks and all that cover was going to be dangerous at some point.
Well, it's always the challenge when you're trying to figure out what shot to throw. When they threw the first draw into the top of the 4-foot, you know you're taking away Ontario's draw, but you're forcing them to play the hit and roll.
And tough for Eric. He made his first shot. I thought he made the shot. He had fantastic, and to have it over curl was, I think, quite surprising. And so it is a game where an inch here, an inch there can make all the difference. I don't know if this was Ontario's original intent, what happened with this shot, but
no, it overcurled.
No,
so he was trying to play a center guard.
I would have thought he'd want to be a bit tighter than that as well. That's really long.
Yeah, a little surprised he wasn't playing it just into the rings.
So you can see BC are actually electing to play a come around guard. You don't see that a lot. So they'll end up with two guards on the same side.
It almost seems like we have just a bit more curl on the ice this afternoon than we did this morning.
And having just said that, this one's hanging out there quite a bit, Dave.
Yeah. Well.
So the team without hammer put up a corner guard, and the team with hammer now has put up a center guard.
Great weight.
Yeah, they wanted, but you can see, I think Eric's a bit surprised. So if you're BC, you're probably a bit disappointed, but you know there'll be opportunity. You have to think of it as just that we're down 2, and it's a lot of game to go.
Well, the nice thing from our perspective is that we're going to see 5 more ends with lots of rocks in play. You can
see this coming up quite a bit now, but too much weight. Biting the back 12, so we'll leave BC a couple of opportunities here, depending how they want to come at this. So choosing to come with the out turn. I'm trying to think what we've seen for draws out this wide, David. Have we seen anything out here yet?
Not so far in this draw. We were watching this morning's draw, and the New Brunswick girls were actually holding the broom right on the boards to throw a guard just off center. So, do you like this approach here? Yeah,
then?
I really do. I think this is smart. Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's, you know, I really like the corner guards in a spot where if you were playing them that you can come around both ways just for this specific reason.
And this looks like a really good shot. You can see this one just coming in sideways. That
Wonderful.
almost, if that had kept going, it was going to over curl on the center guard.
Wonderful shots. Yeah, we can see that late finish on it. As it's slowing down, the curl is just grabbing the ice and walking it sideways.
Now, interesting here, you see Ontario not follow down on the out turn. In fact, they come back to the in turn side again.
Just different angles. They can play the angle game with that in turn, even if it hangs out a little bit. It's pretty good for them.
Also, I think they want to tuck something in behind that redstone as well. But this is hanging out a little bit and maybe a bit light as well. Yeah, I think the line was fine. Yeah, it just had to come about another foot.
Don't really want to nose this.
Yeah, they're trying to get the inside roll.
I mean, they could play the same shot they just threw in the freeze game. But dangerous rock, so they're gonna play the hit and roll. If you get the roll, it's fantastic. Obviously, just don't want to be on the guard.
Quite a bit. It actually looks like it is going to be on the guard. This might hit half of it, actually. And you can see that was definitely a soft weight hit they were going at. So probably the worst result, because now they've opened up their shot stone. Chance actually for Ontario, if they can get to the inside here, to sit 3.
Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult shot. You know, he's looking at it from the far end and just saying, okay, well, I can't be wide, because if I hit it half rock on the outside, I jam it. I don't know, I might have been tempted to play that draw again because they had just thrown it.
Oh, and a great shot.
Very nice.
By Ontario. They get the inside roll. Still last rock for BC, and opportunity, but it doesn't look very inviting with all that yellow.
No, it doesn't. I mean, they could be playing with back line weight and tapping that one that was just thrown back and sitting in front of them all. I think they have to start moving things a little bit.
Yeah, now at this point, I do like coming with the in-turn instead of that out-turn, just based on the way the rocks are positioned. But I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you, Dave. If that's a long enough guard, if you could have moved it a little bit, but that
good shot.
Good corner freeze. Ontario will have to make a play on it, I would imagine.
A little curl enough, they can get to nose with board weight on that.
And they're actually thinking about throwing a center guard.
Yeah.
So. Which is interesting, 2 up in this position.
That's a good call too. Other than, can BC not come with the out turn and eliminate that shot rock and sit 2? Pretty sure they can.
Yeah, this might just be a little bit early for this shot, I think, Dave. That's the thing in leaving that rock there. I think they were just nervous, thinking that they wouldn't be able to remove it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure BC's got the out turn, back line pack weight.
Yeah.
Get shot rock.
I think you might be able to get to that shot stone, Dave, and not even roll too far in the open.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right? Maybe just tapping it back. There's lots of options.
It's a tough shot. If you don't make this just right, you give a chance for Ontario to draw in again and sit 2 buried. Even if you make it, they're drawing in.
So they're on this right from the release, and they want to just stay there. They don't want to roll in underneath.
Good shot.
So, and actually by staying in the rings. So yeah, they were sweeping that for a roll to the open, but good idea to keep a biter.
Yeah, it is. Making that double, that biter might come into play. So many years ago, Randy Furby once told me that the one thing we'll try never to do is guard the opposition team's rocks, because you never know when that's going to come back to bite you. So,
what's the danger of putting up the center guard? You're into this into the situation now, and it's it's kind of a situation you never really want to be hoping, but you're hoping your opponent doesn't do something that gets you in a bit of trouble at that point.
Soft in this release. You could see it out of his hand. Just kind
this
of
might actually not even take it out of play.
Got to work that.
Does just knock it out of play. That's a desperate sweep there by Dylan. And just think
wrong, but I still feel like they could. There we go. Now he sees it. Yeah.
But just think if that had even rubbed with that hit there against the red, that would have definitely stayed in play. It would have been a bit of trouble.
They're looking at the double peel, but I'll tell you, I think this is there. And even if you wreck on that guard, you don't need to open yours up. I like this.
Well, I think with the right weight, it's not an easy shot, but with the white rate, I'll just try this 3 times. The right weight.
Oh, it's there.
You can, and part of it is you just don't want to roll in the open. If you roll in the open, you leave a double. But if you can get this and even keep it, a piece of it, even edge to edge,
yeah,
you're going to put a lot of pressure on Ontario.
It's really close.
Really close. Oh. Yeah.
But
just once
again,
it's
yeah, not terrible. I mean, he opened it up anyways. He was so close to making that perfectly.
Yeah, no, I mean the out turn's available now, and so is the 4 foot's accessible, even if those are staggered. I thought halfway down it really looked good actually. Just once these rocks start to move, it's really hard to hold them. Now, what kind of weight's he playing here, Dave? With this?
This is probably hack weight as well.
Yeah.
But this is where you have to be a little bit careful you don't over curl, because with hack weight, if it catches the yellow one on the way by, it's not going out of the rings.
Yeah, I wonder if I'd be tempted to just try to pick that, but. First stone for the Ontario skip. And,
looks pretty good.
Oh, that took a big jump there.
Oh, did it ever.
I don't even know if that.
He's on the guard.
I don't know if that. Did just rub. That could have been the curl, but it almost looked like it did take a jump there.
I think so too. About a third of the way down, it just made a huge move. Because when he let it go, I was actually thinking it was on the wide side.
Yeah, well, and the way that was coming up, I actually think he was going to hit the inside of the red, actually. That might have almost been a blessing. And did he actually catch a little of his own?
He moved it a few millimeters, not far though. Still not a gimme for Eric. He's only got about half the rock to play with there. And like you said, he doesn't want to leave a double when he's done either.
And having said all that, really easy to roll out of play. So you see that big sun-kissed logo on top of the. I'm not sure if that's what it is.
He's trying to get to the nose of the red one. I was
that what
confused
he's
by the
trying?
ice here.
Yeah.
But he's playing quiet weight and getting to the nose of the red one to maybe roll them both behind the center guards.
Is he?
Absolutely.
That's a interesting play.
He's on the guards.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody able to get past those in these last few shots.
I like the call, though.
I like the call if you make it. It's a much more difficult shot in some ways. But like you said, I think the other shot's very difficult, too.
Yeah, I think they're both difficult. This had a better result. He could have rolled them both behind the center guards.
Well, that's sometimes the thinking, right? If I have 2 difficult shots to play, I might as well go for the one that's going to have a better result when I make it. So, chance now for Ontario to clean things up. So,
good shot.
No mistake there. So, there they are. And so we're at the, take a quick look at the Northern Ontario girls gold medal game.
I believe for 3 or 2. No, rolls out for 1. Sorry, my mistake.
1 point. So just heading into the break, Northern Ontario is up 2-1, and the Ontario girls with a hammer in 5.
So open hidden stick for Eric Caldwell.
Oh, it looks like his weight's a bit up here, David.
Well, everything does curl here, though. I think it should.
No, that's a lot of weight for this shot. So it will be a steal of 1. So Ontario will actually lead by 3, and BC will retain hammer as we head into the break.
I'll just be a little firmer, so I was worried about it coming in too young. Everything's growing so much. Yeah. Why do you try to like this one? That one's, yeah.
And we are back at the final draw of the 2019 U-18 Canadian National Championships. Kevin Palmer here with David Nedowin. And in the boys' final, we are watching Ontario and BC. Ontario with a 5-2 lead. British Columbia with hammer here in the fifth end. David, that was a unfortunate miss. The hit and stick for one last end. A little bit too much weight. And now a three-spot lead that isn't insurmountable, but we still have hammer, and there's always going to be a chance here with a lot of rocks in play.
Yeah, I think the first four ends were really two storylines for me. Is Dylan Nepage coming out in the third end with those two shots to really steal two, and they were looking at giving up 3 or 4. Those are just two fantastic shots, but also the struggle with that one spot on the ice where they're over curling every time, other than the last shot by Eric Caldwell where he upped his weight, popped it back a little bit, and rolls out for the steal. So just struggling with that one spot on this ice.
And just a small mistake there by BC coming into the rings with the corner guard attempt, so they were able to hit.
Throw another guard though, 5 rock.
At least I think that's what happened. You were talking to me and I wasn't watching, so it's quite possible they hit and played the delayed corner, but I'd be surprised.
Talking to yourself at that time.
Yeah, it could be.
No, they were calling the corner guard.
They were,
and
yeah,
slid
okay.
in. Yeah,
because it's you wouldn't often see the delayed corner when you're 3 down.
Nope.
Although still, depending where the rock's positioned, you don't have to try to get it all back at once. Just get 2 points. There's 4 ends to go. A lot can happen.
It's a nice adjustment.
Yeah. The important thing is to not get, I guess, 2 down. Right, you're not out of this game. Lots of opportunities will present itself with a 5 rock free guard zone. So Ontario electing to. What are they going to do? Are they just?
They're playing a tap actually. Intern.
Okay.
Well, they said tap. Whether they're going to come around it, maybe no. But they're ignoring the corner guard, which they could have drawn around. Gone to top 12 to take it away, but they're going to go around their own. Well, they are playing the tap. If it doesn't touch it, it's probably going to go right through.
Just a slight rub. I think this is going to
slowed it down enough.
Just
bites.
Hang around to the back, yeah. So going to disregard all of that business and just go around their corner guard now.
Shot.
It's not shot stone, but it's in the rings and nearly completely buried. So quick update for you now on the boys bronze medal game. This is a final shot by Nova Scotia and jams the Manitoba stone. So Manitoba now up 3-2 at the break. Nova Scotia with hammer.
So Ontario's playing an outturn kind of board weight hack. Try to get at the one in the house, but if they obviously open up the front and take that, that's fine. 5 rocks have already been thrown, so they can take off the guard.
Does just rub the front. Been a lot of rubs on this game, Dave. And
yeah. But that was almost one of those dangerous rubs where you feather it and don't move it, but still miss the back. So I think from their perspective, that's perfectly fine.
And being 3 up for sure.
Yeah. They've got it off the red rock.
So we've also got a competition of the hats here, David. We've got the Sunshine from BC, which I always thought maybe that should be mountains. And I've been to Vancouver when it's raining, so I'm not sure how sunny it is, but it's a nice look. And then you've got the Curl ON hat on Ontario.
I think the hat is matching their flag though with the sun on it.
Yes, I know. It's a nice bright color. But The curl ON, it's a little more than the ON, so it gives you a little bit of, and there's no question about what the hat's for, because they are curling. So there is that, but actually I am a fan of that Manitoba hat.
I was just going to say that. To me,
not because we're from Manitoba, but it's a good design, and that buffalo logo.
There's
although
something around that bison that just looks good on it, doesn't it?
Is it a buffalo or a bison, David? Let's be clear here.
I'm pretty sure it's a bison.
I know I haven't taken grade 8 science in a long, long time.
So interesting call by BC, though. They chose to hit that rock that was on the right-hand side as we look to it in the rings. Down 3, early in the end, they could have thrown up another guard. It brings the play into the rings, and now Ontario's going to have 5 shots to make a double takeout.
It's a field goal, Dave. I was a bit surprised that actually, based on I wasn't sure which rock they were playing off of, but it seemed like a lot of ice for that shot. Maybe still overall struggling a bit with the amount of curl and trying to determine where to put the broom and the weight.
Definitely
control.
Some confusion in that still.
And that seemed like a lot of weight, maybe a lot more weight than they've thrown, which is probably the right weight if you're trying to remove both rocks, but not at that broom.
I might still be tempted to throw the guard on the higher one. I mean, you know that Ontario's going to have that double made one of these times, and now you're back to sitting 2 in the house and hoping they don't make a double the rest of the end.
Yeah, and I mean, they could have elected even a split on that or something else to move those around, but they're just going to draw to the open side. It's still it's not an automatic double, Dave. That's fairly thin.
No, it is. It's actually thinner than I thought.
Yeah, and I think that's why they were so close on that. But now, now looking to play a hit and roll.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Yeah, I think they want to go back to that shot that he just tried. Something they could have considered on the previous shot would have been to hit and roll underneath. And then even if they play the run back, they're...
this is very close to the double.
Yeah. No,
but
a
you're
little
right,
too
it's
thick
pretty
here.
thin. Yeah.
And you can see actually even a bit of more down weight there than on the previous attempt. So... opportunity now for BC to put a third rock in play.
Well, I think I like where he was calling. He was thinking splitting the rings way on the outside, so I think that was...
As much as you're talking about corner guards earlier, Dave, now that it's this late in the end...
that's the difference.
I think you want to sit 3.
Yes.
That way if the... Yeah, so they are playing the corner.
There's only 2 stones left for Ontario. I think now's the point where you're trying to put as many in the rings as possible. Even if they make 1 double, you're going to get 2 out of this. But the doubles are not going to be easy.
Well, and the danger now, if they make a hit and roll,
exactly,
as Dylan did a couple ends ago, you might get forced in this end and not get the points you're looking for.
So Mitchell Kapitko.
No, they actually are electing to bring this in.
Just grouping the rocks, right? There's a couple doubles for them now.
Yep. So again, I don't know if that was the intent or if it was the corner guard they were looking for, but I think it's difficult not to leave a double at some point. They're going to have 2 chances at it. If they make 2 doubles and you get forced to 1 or even a blank, then you take your hat off to them. So I think this is actually a little bit flatter than the other one they were trying, Dave. But still, with the way that these teams have been struggling a little bit with hitting the rock where they want, as you say, I mean, it's when you're throwing a hit that's 6 inches or 12 inches, it's not common in this era. We don't see that often, right? So these teams are. It's hard to, as you say, always visualize where you're throwing to. So right off the bat, it seemed like tight on this one.
Yeah, but he might get the back double if it curls.
Plan B.
Yeah, he's got the back double.
No, it jams actually, so they maybe should have left that a little bit, but now not making that. BC still sits 1 and 2. And that Yellowstone actually could help them here.
Well, they could come around that, but it probably leaves a pretty easy double off of the one in the middle, which isn't ideal. I think if they were to split the house with the out turn going away from it all, it leaves Ontario with that hit and roll, which, you know, it's certainly no gimme.
Well, so they're going to try the split here. See, I think maybe I guess they're worried about the draw would just leave a simple double on the top two reds. The danger of the split is you might leave a double now. If you push it back in the wrong spot, you leave a double, and a double where they could sit buried behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which would be a worst result.
And that's what I was saying if you go behind. I think going to the open side is probably the easiest way to try and score 3.
You're right. If you just go all the way over to the tee line, you know, half 8, half 12, with a 3-point lead, I don't know how aggressive Ontario would be. You're probably going to have a good chance at least 2, and like almost a guaranteed 2, if you would. And
I think what they're worried about is Dylan playing the in-turn freeze, but he would never be playing the freeze in this situation.
Yeah, not when you're facing a potential 4.
Make them even.
So this is awfully light if they were looking for the split. It is possible, Dave, that...
no, they were just playing the draw,
They were just playing the draw, yeah. And that rub actually is a bit unfortunate.
I think just, you know, for Team BC, I think they're just, I mean, they're giving, obviously, Dylan a ton of credit and respect for his shot-making ability. I think they were just overthinking that a little bit. I mean, just they should have just split the house on the far side and said, if you make a perfect hit and roll, well, then we'll deal with it. But, you know, this gives them now a relatively easy double and going to sit in front of the other red BC Stones. So they'll have a draw for 2.
Final shot for Dylan Page.
Pretty thin. Oh, good shot.
Does just spin out of the 4-foot. Little nibble there. Looks like, from our vantage point, red shot, Dave, but hard to tell sometimes from the
mission
camera.
accomplished for Ontario. For Team BC, they got what they wanted, which was a shot for 2.
Looks like they are playing the hit, so I know it looks like red from here. It's hard to say. I mean, they could just be playing this because they prefer this shot.
I think so.
Than trying to draw. I mean, even if they are on the high side, they could roll into their own stone and still a good chance of scoring 2. So, last shot in this 5th end.
Well, that's a little bit back too. He's popped that out turn twice now. He needs to curl a long way.
Really has to come up. Yeah, that's an unfortunate rollout again on his last shot. So 1 point for BC, and Ontario will have hammer 5-3 heading into 6. We're going to take a look at an update here now on the girls' gold medal final game. Northern Ontario drawing in to sit several. And the final stone for Ontario slides just a little bit heavy, and it's a steal of 2. So Northern Ontario has a 4-1 lead. They're heading into the 6th end. It's that Northern Ontario team that we saw earlier today, David, looking in good
shaping
shape.
up to be quite a season for them. If they can hold on to this one with 3 ends left to play. Current Canada Winter Games champions, and now 3 up with 3 ends to go here at the U-18 Nationals.
So center guard goes up for BC. Definitely playing catch up now, David. They've got, they don't have a hammer. They're going to have to make something happen. Really need a steal at some point coming in. It's going to be difficult for them. If you're Ontario, the key is, I think, just score in this end and make sure of at least one. That's I think what's most important.
You know, it's obvious they're BC's down 2. They don't have last rock. They've put themselves in a bit of a hole. But the one thing I will say is that there has been misses by both teams, and this game is far from over. BC just needs to be keep putting rocks in good positions and force Dylan to make some sort of shot against 2 or 3, because right now we've seen steals of 2 all week long. They're far from out of this.
Yeah, and a good shot on his first, and you can see that it's not always automatic with the lead when you're trying to do 2 center guards. You're not just throwing a guard, you're throwing to a very specific spot on the ice. And you can see here now a little bit deeper than they would have liked. So that will give them an opportunity later on to try the double peel. But you can see right now Ontario actually splitting the rings out to the other side. Now, I don't know about that, David, because what's interesting, depending on when you place it, when you try the double peel, you could jam.
Yeah, you're creating catchers for sure.
So I almost like the idea there of coming around and just coming up high.
Top
maybe
12.
out of the top, even top 12, top 8. And then at that point, force your opponent to come around the other way, because you don't need a whole bunch of points if you're Ontario.
No, these rocks really don't matter to BC whatsoever. They're going to have they're going for the steal, and it's going to come all the way around the corner or the center guards. That's where the play is going to be.
Well, if you think about it, even now with those both being behind the tee, if you come around center,
jam.
and even if it's partially open, so yeah, these rocks really aren't advantageous to Ontario at all.
No.
Yeah. Now the interesting will be on a double peel attempt, depending where this ends up, whether you could remove them all. We'll have to see where this rock lands.
So Benjamin trying to get top 8 foot, top 4 foot. The most important thing is being buried behind those guards.
Seems to have a pretty good shot.
Big curl.
Getting it right down fully into the top 4 foot. So
Perfect.
Perfect shot. So Dylan looking at the angles now, little geometry study. See how this will turn out.
Peel away at half a rock. You might even get lucky and send that closer red one back and take the one off the 4 foot too.
Yeah, they could have played this with the out turn on the other side, trying to get a different result. But here, let's see what they
close.
Just a little bit too thin. I think they thought they were really close on that one. So opportunity now for BC to put a better center guard, or as they're indicating, maybe to come in. But I like going back up again.
So do I,
David. Yeah.
I think you want to waste some rocks right now and then come in more on your second rock.
I don't think Ontario is going to follow that in right now, and if they do, that's actually to your advantage. And even if they make a great shot, it's still early in the end. You've got some time to build things up in the center. Yeah, the problem with coming in early is then they make a run back, things get cleared out, and then it's too easy now for Ontario to score. I don't know if they want to be thinking of plan B here, or it's sort of too late. It's maybe a little bit heavy again.
It's not too bad.
Almost the exact same spot, actually.
Same spot.
Yeah.
definitely a chance for, you know, pretty easy opportunity for double peel. And as you can see from this angle, that second red one will probably go straight back, and very good chance it'll get the one off the forefoot. It's a little better throw.
Yeah, it looks like he does have it, and a great shot rolls across the
Wonderful
top.
shot.
So that was the danger coming in too tight on that guard. So BC now has nothing to play with. They are actually going to put another center guard up. Really, because of the positioning and being two down like this, it's their only option. They will at some point have to come down and freeze one of those yellows.
Well, and Ontario's going to have to worry about kind of navigating this peel around those rocks they put in the rings now.
And that's the hope. In fact, here I think you want this guard to be a bit tighter.
Tight, yeah.
I don't know if they really indicated exactly where they wanted it, Dave, but
he just
you're
said
right. I mean, even if this nibbles at the front and
fine.
Gets in the 12-foot, you're right, it'd be more difficult to remove. It looks like this is actually coming right into the 8-foot potentially. So, well, even full 4, so a little bit of disappointment there for BC now. Now, as much as you don't want to, I think you're thinking of a force. How can we make a shot somehow to get Ontario to not score big? Because if this continues with an open end like this and all the yellows in play, a 2 or a 3 is pretty much ball game. So interesting that they wanted to play the roll here, Dave. I don't.
Nose hit probably would have been pretty
a
good.
nose hit. The danger of the roll is the only thing you don't want to do is build a pocket.
Yeah, grouping stones behind the tee line is not. It's not what Ontario's looking for.
Now I know they're playing the freeze here. They
could come down and move.
Could choose a little move, a tap, something like that. But in any case, if they place this well, it's going to be very difficult for Ontario to remove it.
Pretty close.
Great job by the sweeper just to take that right down to the face of the yellow stone. I think his red shot.
I think so. I don't know that it matters too much, but a great throw by Mitchell.
This is not a very simple shot.
No.
Very easy for this red rock as well to jam onto the yellow over there in the 4 o'clock position from where we're looking. But really, which again makes me wonder why they wanted to roll over there in the first place. But big weight shot.
It's close. He threw this really well.
You
There's
can see,
the jam.
there it is right there. So chance for the force now.
That'd be I think a moral victory for BC if they can get out of here with a force. Play for 2 in the 7th end and steal 8.
It did look like that was going right on there, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Just the way it was lined up.
I don't think there's much you could have done about that. Hair thinner, I guess.
Well,
even then, I don't know.
Honestly, the way they're lined up, it's one of those interesting things. Rocks are interesting that way, right? When you get a couple bunched in a certain way, you can hit it anywhere and the same thing happens. So. But choosing to freeze, play the draw down here, Dave. And,
interesting, right? I mean, they just threw it. The other thought is just hit and force 1. I mean, you can't afford to give up 2 here.
The danger of the freeze, of course, is if you're Ontario. And I think actually the danger of the freeze is, I wonder, does that actually bring a potential blank back into play? If you... or depending on where it lands. Oh, this looks a little bit hot.
Curl, yeah.
I think they just didn't want to leave a double, essentially. But this needs to slow down. They may still yet leave a double. No, it's fairly flat. But they don't even, actually, they just need to roll over to the side.
There. Yeah, double's definitely there.
But do you even need a double?
No, I'm just saying
you're going to be sitting 2. Yeah.
You roll that way, it doesn't really matter.
They're even looking, and this is a thought. Why not just draw?
Could. Yeah.
So that was the danger of the freeze. You had to be shot, right? So, yeah, I'm with you. I think the hit and stick, you're thinking of aggression, you're down, but hit and stay, you know, make it difficult.
Threes
for
happen
him.
all the time.
Yeah.
Hit and stay, force 1. You're down 3 playing 7.
Could even get 2 and steal 1. So
yeah.
Well, there will be something to freeze up to here when this shot's complete, I think. But is he? See, I'd almost be tempted, Dave. I wonder where they're going with this. You don't want to
leave
leave
T-line edge of the 4-foot.
Are they? You know, don't want. They might leave a hit and roll over in front. They, you know, you could almost put this on the center line. There's many places to put it. That's the tricky part about the draw is where do you place it, and then you want to walk down there and place it, but you can't. You have to leave it to your sweepers and see where this ends up.
Well, and you want to throw it in a spot where you're actually not playing away from the rings. Like you don't want to play to a spot where it's narrowing up in order to sit 2. So I think it's important to make sure they were taking enough ice on this.
Yeah, and with the
it's like the rings are getting small already for them.
You can see this curling up quite a bit. It's got to be fully 8 foot. And this might actually just slip too deep, so it is. It's third shot.
Yeah.
You're right, Dave. So very little room for error there. Now
they only gave themselves about 3
yeah.
feet to play with. If they'd taken a foot more ice, they had so much more room to sit shot.
But worried about leaving a double.
Yeah.
Again. And the good thing here for BC is they just attempted this shot. So should be comfortable throwing it. You know, sometimes you can even steal this way, right? Even though we haven't seen a center guard now for for quite a few shots. Very important to put this in the right spot.
Just through it. Should be close. Eric Caldwell. Line's better this time. I don't know if he's there, though.
No, they've been sweeping it for weight right from the beginning.
They really have to go. Line's good.
They are dragging it, Dave. This is great sweeping yet again. I think they got all of that they could muster.
Great
so
sweep.
It is shot.
There is a double for 2, though, or for 3, I should say.
A few different options here, actually.
Well, the nice thing for Ontario is that if it overcurls, I mean, in the jam, but there's shooters rolling in for a single point anyways.
Well, yeah, there's several ways to play it, right? You can play the double. You might even only get 2 out of it, which is fine. You don't really need more than 2. You could play a draw into that rock, just try to nudge it and roll over in for 1.
There's really no way to give up a steal here. If they jam, their shooters rolling in. If they pick it wide, they steal. They take 1. They make the double, they get 3.
Well, I guess you could jam, and then the Redstone could, depending how you jam it, it could roll into the 4-foot and give up a steal.
Sure.
Possibly.
Very unlucky if they did that, but possible.
Keep it high side, I guess, right? Final shot for Dylan Nepage. And Ontario here in the 6th end.
This is the spot that curls so much, though.
They do come across the face, but as you say, Dave, they still manage to get their single point.
Good throw, and I think that, from BC's perspective, I think that's fine. They forced a single.
Yep. So it's 6-3. BC will have hammer in the 7th end. It's almost a bunch of sighs of relief from both sides on that one.
It's nice when everyone's happy.
Yeah, everybody's
kind of
sort of relieved almost.
Yeah, I think relieved is the better word.
So we're going to go over to the girls' bronze medal game and just give you an update.
There's BC drawing in to sit 2. They're up 7-1, so bit of a struggle for New Brunswick in this game.
And with the jam, it will be a steal of 1, and there'll be handshakes. It's an 8-1 victory for British Columbia over New Brunswick.
So there's your bronze medalist winners.
You know, I know we said, I'm kind of rethinking on that last end, Dave. I know we thought about hitting the sit 2 for the force. The one thing about the freeze and creating a little more rocks in there, there was an added chance of a steal. I think if you just hit, it's you're going to look for a rollout potentially, right? Maybe to get that steal, which is less likely. But if you you're taking a little more chances. I mean, obviously you had a chance of giving up 2 or 3, but you're already down. You're already behind the 8 ball here. So.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't. It was far from a bad call. There's no problem with that.
Yeah. Well, the call you make is always the right call. I've always, a lot of the times.
Sometimes I feel like in a game where there is some misses on both sides, you want to keep it simple for yourself and make the easy shots. But to the credit of Eric Caldwell, he threw 2 really nice shots there. So corner guards up for Team BC.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's how Ontario wanted to have the house look when they were done. So
definitely looking looking a little bit to the advantage of BC at this moment.
Yeah, and BC actually not using their extra corner guard here. They're going right in. So not sure that I agree with that, David. I'm wondering. You had an opportunity to use a second guard. So now I think you'll see the peel by Ontario.
Well, they can't peel yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. But, well, sorry, and that's why I'm wondering, like, what they're going to, they could actually play a shot here where if they could tick and move it over.
Yeah, exactly.
But I guess my thoughts, why not throw up a second corner even on the same side, or as we talked about, I think before, a corner on the other side. They essentially played a 4-rock free guard zone end.
I think even guarding the yellow one on the other side would have been fine. With the amount of curl, even though this was buried, you can see it's still accessible.
Yeah. So again, but counter my thinking.
It did.
There's still stay around. Look at that.
I think it's biting.
That seemed like he threw that really well.
Yeah.
And
that changes things.
A little bit bad break there for sure. Well, and now if they make the same shot in behind, you'd think Ontario would peel.
Peel the guard into that one biting the 12-foot.
Yeah. Yeah, you're almost throwing up that second guard because later in the end you want to have at least one. So, or you force your opposition, and maybe it was they didn't want their opposition doing that. They wanted to try something else.
I think Benjamin's a little bit light. Double peels there.
It's not
but it's
as easy as you think, though. If you catch this a little thick, it could spin into the rings.
Yeah. And if you make it easy, your shooter probably stays around. I think about 2/3 of a rock and he gets everything.
I'm just wondering if it goes right onto that yellow stone, though, in the top 12.
Very close.
So Cameron makes, I guess we call that a double peel. Not completely, but you can see that rock was going to go right onto that yellow stone. So it stays in play, gives BC something to come around, maybe even split later on. It's there's some options there potentially. Still continuing to provide a lot of ice, David. That's another 9 feet of curl almost, I think.
And this time they're getting caught on the wide side a little bit.
Yeah.
But it should still finish hard.
And as you can see, actually some...
Oh, it's going to bury easy.
Yeah, fantastic shot. Look at this.
Right around the yellow one, which is even better.
Yep. I'd be tempted to just play a straight peel, maybe try to catch that rock biting on the 12.
Yeah, you've got to be, a little bit worried about this jamming on the yellow one.
Try to hit a third if you can.
Good shot.
So I didn't notice this, that Sam Hastings actually mentioned that he participated in Timbit School Provincials for 3 years.
Huh.
So I was wondering why they should have Timbits curling. I'm assuming he means Timbits hockey, but that's an interesting call, Dave. So they're going to end up, they're trying to just split the rings. And
comes up short.
Comes up short. I'm not sure if I didn't even like just replacing the guard, actually. There, did you like splitting it over there?
I think the only issue is at some point they're just going to hit their yellow one onto your red. But I mean, they're not.
Well, because you have the biter, you can sit first, second, and fourth. You're still putting pressure on Ontario, but that's an unfortunate miss. If they can hit and stay here, there's still opportunity for BC. Oh, a good shot. But does actually just roll out of play. So
still a good chance for BC.
Yeah.
I mean, they can think about at some point trying to bring that biter back into play too.
Well, I'm wondering that now. Does it make sense to maybe even there? It looks like they're going to attempt a draw.
Well, if you hit the top yellow one right on the nose, if they hit it on the nose, now you're bringing the back one into play. Yeah. But I mean, the draw is fine. You get around. You're really playing this end for two. You make a good draw. You've got a guard. Use it.
I like to keep the opportunity for three open, but not at the risk of not scoring.
Exactly.
Two. So the come around attempt here, trying to get it to Barry. That thing actually, that rock stayed a little straighter, but
good shot.
Brought it deep in behind.
Can't imagine that. Well,
they're looking at a couple options here that whether they could play the double off that rock in the 12-foot, or they're going to come right down to it.
Well, they've got a few different options. They play the double off the 12-foot, but you nose that and you give BC a chance at three. I think that they could just say we can't see any is the answer.
I know they were trying to they had the broom right in the middle of the rock, and I'm not sure what they thought there, but
how much can you see?
Yeah,
none.
They do only need to just move that a few inches to sit two, so they are going to play right down to it.
Yeah. Well, if you're BC though, this is what you're hoping for. I mean, you're hoping to bring Ontario into a draw game.
Well, and the danger is if you're just the worst case scenario is if you should rub that front and knock it in.
Yes,
that would be dangerous.
Now you bring that three into play.
And sometimes
I mean, the other option for Ontario could be to rip the guard and you concede your two. You're one up with playing the last end. This is, you make the shot, you're still keeping them to two, maybe one, but this is the only risk for giving up three.
And sometimes here the tendency is, especially when you're thinking of being to it and moving it, is that you throw a little too much weight.
Looks good. There's so much curl here. This should move easily enough.
Sweepers have been on it most of the way down. So it looks like they are just going to draw right down to it. Maybe get a bump if they can, but no, it will sit second shot. But,
lovely shot.
But fantastic positioning there. Now, if some of those other yellows weren't there, they could play off their own redstone, but it's not going to benefit them at this point.
No, it's still, I mean,
that,
if you're BC, this is still fine. You've got the guard, you've got rocks back there, you play a draw. So exactly the same shot that we just saw.
I just wonder, Dave, when it curls 9 feet, does an inch less broom make a huge difference?
Well, the one thing I know is you do not need to be tight to this guard.
Yeah, because even if you're partially open and you're frozen on the yellow rock,
I mean, I feel like tightening the ice up. You know, when he was at the end already, he knew where the broom was supposed to go.
Yeah.
Tightening it up once you're in the hack doesn't seem like the best decision.
Actually, it looks like the line, I think, was okay. Just a little light here. Really only had top 12.
Even then, it would have overcurled.
Yeah.
It was going to overcurl. I mean, he had to be about center line, like, you know, edge of the rock, maybe close to the center line coming by that.
Yeah, because it's possible there to curl across the face of that Yellowstone.
Yeah, I think he would have overcurled.
Yeah.
If he had the weight, he would have overcurled.
So it's going to be very difficult to try and get 2 here now. I think if you're Ontario, just don't put anything in a spot where you give them a double or something like that. So
you know,
what are they trying here, Dave? Are they?
Well, I think they're just drawing in again, but you know, to the challenge from Eric's perspective, there is he knows where to put the broom because he was at the end the whole time. But the minute you sit in the hack and you go, holy, that's a lot of ice. And it is, but you sort of have to trust yourself, right?
I don't know if I like what they're doing here, Dave. I'm wondering, obviously the shot, you know, you're playing to make a shot, but really all you need to do is force your opponent here.
Which they kind of already have.
Yeah. I mean, they could conceivably put a rock here where you leave them a straight back, you know, run back double for 2 points. I wonder, Dave, can they get 2 points here? Yeah, they can. I mean, it's not an easy shot.
Yeah, it's there.
You've left them a shot they didn't have a moment ago.
you play for one. You know that you get one, but it is. I think it's just there.
Yeah, it's so difficult, of course, because if that red rock moves 2 inches, it's outcounted by the Yellowstone. I think you have to play it. You know, or they at this point being 3 down, I think it's the right shot because you can still get one playing it that way. But no, I think it looks like they're gonna draw for one.
I mean, it's so difficult. You'd have to just paper that rock to get 2. But to your point, it's mathematically there. It is there.
And if the shot's for one anyway, you might as well play it.
Yeah.
I'm just would have to look back at the house and see whether hitting that Yellowstone actually leaves you second shot. Yeah, I can understand why there's a bit of concern because it's very easy to jam and just give a steal at that point. So they're comfortable with their shot. And as you say, steal at 2 is not out of question. It can happen. Final shot.
So draw for 1 for Eric Caldwell. Line looks good. A little bit warm, maybe?
Does need this to just slow down. And
nice shot.
Does. Catch in the back 4 foot, so
Well done.
1 point for BC and a 6-4 lead. Ontario with hammer heading to the 8th end.
Well, we'll see a couple center guards go up and see if Team BC can make Ontario throw their last shot.
And quick highlights here of the Northern Ontario game, the girls' final.
There's the final shot, I think, in the 7th end.
And it is handshakes.
So Northern Ontario winning both the Canada Winter Games and U-18 National Championship. So quite a year for the Team Crozier.
So as you said, David, the first shot is a long center guard. And they're going to attempt the tick shot, it looks like. And a little too thick, that'll hit the sideboard, so they'll replace it. No. What's
They're trying to figure out where it goes. They're looking for the ring, but it looked kind of funny because they're moving it all over the place. I think that looks pretty good.
Yeah. It was a game yesterday where actually the BC girls, they'd moved the rock back, and the BC skip, she didn't notice, but it wasn't in the same position. In fact, she went to play the same shot, and it wasn't available anymore. So that can happen sometimes if their teams aren't necessarily paying full attention.
That was a really good first shot by Tyler to make that high guard. It's so hard on the nerves, right? I mean, you're 3 feet short and it's hogged, but right in the middle kind of creates a difficult spot to put a second guard up. So
another great shot here.
Yeah.
So unlike a couple ends ago when they got them bunched too close together, this is
that's exactly
the perfect setup.
Yeah, 2 great shots by Tyler.
Now I wonder here, do you still try the tick then again, Dave? Or do
well,
you
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that with the 2 guards like that, you can't really afford to leave them both. I would probably come around. But, I mean, if you can make the tick and move one, that's great. It's not that it's wrong.
But if you move one, then it means you can't make the double peel. So you don't give the second the opportunity to look like the hero, right? So, so they are trying it again. Now, obviously, there's also a chance. You've got 2 chances at it, I guess. If you miss the first one, maybe you get the second one. I'm not sure which one they were playing
I think
originally.
they're getting the back one now.
And, oh, no, but now it looks like they're going to actually hit it full. And
well, actually,
it comes right out of play.
Yeah.
Put that stone back. So both of the Ontario Leeds rocks are essentially removed from play by Trey Cowell.
2 great shots by Tyler setting this up. So there's no question BC's going to come around now and try and get a couple rocks into the rings and hopefully force Ontario into a difficult last shot. The guards are in a position where they're difficult to double peel and lose your shooter.
Yeah, if you're Ontario, you're probably playing for a steal of 1 now. It might be your thought process.
Well, it is, right?
Be happy to give up a steal
Absolutely.
of 1 at this stage, yeah.
I mean, BC needs to have 8 perfect shots.
Yeah, and this is another perfect one. So 3 in a row.
3
This
in a
is
row.
you'd like
probably
it
a foot deeper, 2 feet deeper. I think ideally it does make it. I mean, the draw is obviously still there. You would like to put in a position where it's very, very difficult for Ontario at the end of the end. But good shot, really good shot.
So Cameron Van Bodegum with the double peel attempt, or I think the priority was just, I guess, to move it.
Yeah.
And they've left a corner. They've actually blocked off an out-turn draw.
Exactly. The out-turn's gone.
And we've seen how much that out-turn draw curls, so.
The out-turn's gone.
That's not ideal.
Nope. So now another high guard. They're just going to keep replacing the guard. If you're BC, putting it high. Ontario's going to keep trying the double peel.
Mm-hmm. And for these younger curlers, Dave, I mean, even for older curlers, but it is a final. The nerves could start to come into play.
You got to work this one. Got to work this one to get it over. I don't think so.
Oh, no.
Unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, that's such a hard shot. We were talking about Tyler's first one when he dropped it just over the hog line like that. And there's just no room for error. I mean, if you're deep, the double peel's there. If you're short, you hog it. I mean, it's such a difficult shot. And as much as, you know, we look at those and go, well, it's a guard. I mean, we shouldn't, you know, you should make sure those are over. But tight to the other red one's just as bad. I mean, it's a real easy double peel. So.
Well, and he may have been thinking about 2 ends ago when he attempted that draw and came a little deep and left the double peel. And, you know, sometimes that's in your mind. So successful peel this time.
Like we said, it needed to be, you know, 8 perfect shots. And it's certainly not that Benjamin missed by much on that, but obviously not the result that they needed. So guard it up, and if you're Team BC, you're hoping that Ontario maybe runs it back, jams it, stays for a guard. You never know what can happen.
So they bring the guard in quite tight, but largely they want to, I guess, bring it over there, David. But
yeah, a little tight.
But they leave Ontario as a chance actually now to clear all the red stones. Now they are going to play this on the intern side. Could jam it and send that red rock over underneath the yellow corner.
You'll wait. A little bit on the high side.
Got that a little bit firm to the high side, so we'll see what the result is. But
what a great shot.
Great shot.
You saw the fist pumps and the excitement. They know that they're just a couple shots away from the gold medal here at the National Championships. Wonderful shot. Mitchell trying to draw around the corner guard. Maybe get a couple rocks in play and,
like you say, make them throw their last.
Force Dylan to throw his last shot. But it's sure nice if you're the skip right now looking at that house for Team Ontario.
So we're going to take a quick look and give you an update from the bronze medal game. This is a low-scoring affair between Nova Scotia and Manitoba. See final stone for Nova Scotia just sliding through the rings. And it was a steal for Manitoba and handshakes in the 8th end. 4-2 is the final score. Manitoba bronze champions at this U-18 2019 Canadian Championship.
And on our sheet, they're actually going to peel the guard a little bit wide and got the back one.
You can see right here. So it wasn't the intent, but I think they'll take it.
As long as they make contact. I think he was still a little bit excited from his first shot. Well, get one buried. Force Ontario to peel the guard, split the house, and
You hate to say it, but you're kind of hoping for a hair or something. But they don't use those anymore, so it's not likely it's going to be out on the ice. And, of course, I always say you don't want to win that way, but when you're right in that moment and you're hoping beyond hope for something to happen for you.
Yes.
But when you've been around long enough, you've seen stranger things happen.
that's true.
So, like you say, always make your shots, stay in the moment. You never know what might happen. So.
Good throw.
I mean, if the same thing happens on this one and they miss the back red, David,
Well, you
now
never
you
know,
can slip
right?
another one
you
in
never
behind.
know. You need a miss. There's no question about that.
Let's see what Ontario chooses to do here. They're kind of...
Someone's saying, do the math, boys. Do the math.
Yeah.
I think if you're Team Ontario coach right now, you might be looking at a timeout. Yeah. There we go.
I think, were they indicating they might draw at one point? What were they thinking? Yeah, it's do the math.
Coach is sitting there going, guys, really?
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you're this close, you got to maybe just take a moment to take a deep breath, let your brain restart a little bit.
Pretty sure there's one right call here. There you go. And this is why it's a great team game. You heard the front end yelling down. You know if we hit that guard, we're going to have a wide open shot to win, right? I think the only thing probably going through Dylan's mind was, is there a way that we can make this so I don't even throw my last shot?
Yeah, maybe.
Right? But you know what? There's something special about throwing your last shot and just making it to win.
Well, you can see here, they're not even playing the out turn with the thought they might catch the back rock. They're just playing a straight peel.
Good call. Take a deep breath, calm the nerves.
No other games right now in play.
And don't get me wrong, there is a lot of nerves. It's a packed house out here right now. There you go.
So no mistake.
Good shot.
It used to be often that when the skip was getting ready to peel, the rest of the team got nervous. Sometimes you'd get 6 perfect ones, and then the skip would bonk. But then he'd make the draw to the button to win in the end anyway. So never did that day. Probably a couple times. Had to save yourself. So just gonna draw into the paint.
Well, finish the event with a good shot here by Eric. Just split the paint and make Ontario throw.
And not even looking at that one. They want to throw the same in-turn hit.
Same shot. And here it is, the last path down the ice. Gold medal game of the U-18 National Championships. Same path you just said. It's always nice to have thrown it and get to throw it again. See in the background that we've got some phones going, recording this video.
So Dylan E-Page, final stone.
No mistake.
And actually sticks Steal a one, but no matter. Ontario takes the gold medal. Handshakes. And congratulations to Dylan Nepage and his team from Ontario.
Absolutely, and to Team BC, Eric Caldwell and their team. They put on an excellent show. Fine young curlers, and to all the teams here. Obviously, Northern Ontario winning the women's side, and Ontario getting the silver medal.
Great event, and thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it.
Celebrations all around.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Dave.